Welcome to Wine Time in Pennsylvania. I'm Missy Wilson, and this is my father, Rich Blair. We're at our vineyard and winery, Cedar Ridge Vineyards, located in the Lehigh Valley AVA, just outside of Kutztown, Berks County.
This video today is going to talk about pre-harvest preparations for our vineyard here.
So you'll notice that the Cab Franc doesn't have the nets on them yet, but over here the Pinot Noir does have the nets on them. Right now the birds know that these grapes aren't quite ripe enough. There's not enough sugar hanging around in them. They are not attracted to the Cab Franc right now. So we dropped the nets on the Pinot Noir a week or two ago because we noticed that the birds were starting to go in that direction. We probably still have another couple weeks before we have to worry about the Cab Franc, because if you notice, especially right here, some of the grapes are still green versus turning that really dark purpley black color, which means that they are not sweet. Most animals would not be interested in it at that point in time. So they're still good to go for a couple weeks yet.
So here we are in the Pinot Noir vineyard that is netted already. As you can see, we have this black netting that is used to help protect the birds so they can't get in and eat the fruit from us. And it does work fairly well. This is what we go through once a year, and we take it up once a year, but it's all handwork. But this is what you have to do to protect your fruit this time of year. These grapes are ready to pick now. We've got the nets up. We have the little yellow bins that we're picking into. These guys are ripe for our purposes. We're picking for sparkling today. And so we're picking at below table wine values. So we want more acidity and less sugar. If we were picking them for red wine, we would probably be picking them about 2 to 3 weeks from now. But you know, we get an early pick, we get less sugars, higher acidities, and it'll make a great sparkling wine base.
And the reason that you do the sparkling a little bit lower is when you make sparkling wine, you do actually 2 fermentations. The first fermentation is a normal fermentation that you would normally do with wine, and then the second fermentation is actually really what gives you the bubbles. So if you picked your grapes at the same level that you would pick your normal grapes, the alcohol content on sparkling wine, which is supposed to be nice and refreshing and a little bit lower, would be extremely high. So you're purposely picking sparkling with a little bit more of that crispness, a little bit more of that acidity, and definitely a lot less of that sugar, because sugar is what converts into alcohol.
The site we're at is very hilly. It's a south-facing slope. It's 8 to 15% grade. So the water runs off. We have great sun exposure. There is not a tree in sight. The ground is schisty shale, so the water just runs off down the hill, so we don't have a lot of soggy soils. And it's hilly enough that all the cold air in the spring and the fall will run off down to the bottom so that we don't get frost. This is a perfect site for growing grapes in southeast Pennsylvania.
If you go further south, it tends to be a little bit warmer. It's really difficult to grow Pinot Noir. You'll notice a lot of places don't really have it. Here, temperatures drop in the evening and then they get warm again, so that temperature change really helps to ripen and enjoy the complexity, and it works out really well for the grapes that we have planted on our site.
This vineyard is made up of red grapes and white grapes, and the red grapes are down on the hillside, south-facing slopes where they get the most sun. The white grapes are from here back, and this is the north side of the hill. We don't need to ripen the white grapes like we do the red grapes. In fact, they should not be as ripe.
If you look at a white wine versus a red wine, white wines tend to be a little less alcoholic than a red wine does. So white wines tend to be the first ones to come in. They're a little bit lower in sugar. You tend to have a little bit more acid to them as well. You get that crispness that comes across. So then therefore, they don't need to sit as long. They don't need to have quite as much sunlight. So they're really that nice grape that you know you can rely on. So today I'm drinking our 2019 Pinot Noir Rosé, which I personally love. I'm more of a red wine drinker, so in the summertime when it gets a little bit warm for red wines, you get the flavors of a red wine with the crispness of a white. It's perfect for porch sipping, but it also pairs really well with cheeses, appetizers, anything with strawberries in it, dessert.
I'm drinking our 2014 Stonehenge Pinot Noir. Very earthy, kind of mushroomy on the nose. Beautiful sense of black raspberries and blackberries. This I would pair with one of my favorite dishes, which is rack of lamb.
Thank you so much for joining us today for Wine Time at Cedar Ridge Vineyards. Join us next time as we visit another vineyard.